Have you started your podcast yet? Maybe you have, and you're like many of us, and you're unsure where it's going or where to take it. Maybe you're waiting to get past a list of excuses to get going with your podcast. Either way, hang on to your butts because I'm about to tell you why your podcast is going to change everything. Welcome to the Pod Sound School, where you'll find a ton of videos all about podcasting, content creation, and leveling up your online presence. If it's your first time clicking in, I'm Studio Steve. I'm an audio guy, a podcast nerd, and me and you are about to become really good friends. Podcasting. What a conundrum. What an elusive and strange thing. The medium of podcasting exists in the internet space like no other platform. It isn't hosted on a single site like YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. There are many platforms that host podcasts and many creative ways of distributing them. There's also an ever-growing number of podcast fans who consume podcasts differently than the way they consume other internet content. Podcasts aren't about mindless scrolling and quick dopamine hits. Podcast listeners are a strange bunch who enjoy story and long-form entertainment. Some faithful listeners will binge entire back libraries of new shows they discover. Some will listen to 2-hour-long episodes. And they are constantly on the lookout for new shows to check out because they have either consumed everything their favorite shows have to offer or they've grown a little bored with their favorites. So why is your podcast gonna change everything? How could I possibly know that? Well, I do, and I'm gonna tell you. But first, let's take a look at exactly what you're doing when you're podcasting. And if you haven't started yet, you can imagine this as well. When we podcast, we're doing a lot more than we're aware of. What we're doing is actually insanely phenomenal. First, we're transforming our energy into a digital format and broadcasting it, dispersing it into the cosmos of the internet. And it's not just the audio production phenomenon of transforming our voice from the vibrations in the air through a capsule or diaphragm into an electrical signal and then finally into an endless series of ones and zeros. What we're capturing on our microphone is far more than just our voices and our ideas and our chit chat and our opinions. It's our energy, our pulse. And then once we capture it and reproduce the sound into digital files that we can see on our computer, we can further manipulate that energy and those ideas by reorganizing them, adding music, adding effects to make the sound even more intimate and engrossing. In this way, we become far more than just opinion holders tangenting into a microphone. We become creators, composers, makers. And this process further boosts or amplifies our energy. And when we broadcast our shows to the many different podcast directories, we then multiply that energy. And when we keep at it, improving and researching and growing and pushing ourselves out of our comfort zones, the energy multiplication becomes exponential. And that's when it's apparent that our podcasts have changed everything. Not only have they changed us on a personal level, but they've changed us socially, emotionally, spiritually, and professionally. But even more insane than that is the changes that our podcast create in other people. Because our energy, again, becomes transformed into something completely different and completely new in the ears and minds of our listeners. We inspire them, entertain them, comfort them, support them, give them a sense of belonging, encourage them, build them up. And what started as a little spark, a small idea, hey, should I start a podcast? Grows on its own into something far more. And now that you've stuck with me, let me tell you how that's gonna work for you and how I'm certain that your podcast is going to change everything. I can claim this with a straight face, not just because it's happened to me personally, and starting a podcast has taken me to places I could have never imagined, and not just because it's happened to hundreds of podskis we're lucky enough to have worked with and been inspired by. But I can tell you this for certain because you're still here hanging out with me, which means before I even convinced you of it, somewhere you already knew it to be true. The majority of the people who clicked on this video won't make it this far with me. YouTube viewers are a very impatient and attention deficit bunch. They want their answers or dopamine hits really quick, and if you don't provide that, they bounce. But you haven't. You hung around because you're dedicated, you're willing to put in some serious effort and to make something great, and maybe because you could also use some words of encouragement. So here it is. Let me play it out simply how your podcast is going to change everything. It's simple. You only have to commit to a few things. First, you have to separate yourself from anyone who doesn't believe in your project or puts down your ideas or helps you to doubt yourself. I'm not saying that you have to cut them out of your life. I'm just saying Don't bother sharing your ideas or asking for criticism from Debbie Downers. Second, you have to keep at it and keep learning, keep challenging yourself to learn new things and try new things with your podcast. Be fearless and free of excuses. Don't be afraid to be extreme or strange or outrageous, and don't hold back from being you. And finally, be social. Reach out to people like you. Hang around a ton of other social platforms, share your show, and get feedback from your show from everyone. The more you authentically make connections, the quicker that exponential growth will spike. And there you have it. Are you convinced? Tell me what you think. I will personally respond to your comments here right on our channel. And one last thing, when I say it will change everything, that includes you. The more open you are to opportunities, the more you get uncomfortable, the quicker your show will flourish. So be fearless, Podski, and make sure to keep us updated with your milestones. We're here to help you grow and get you out of your comfort zone. And we also happen to have a ton of helpful tutorial videos and online courses. I'll leave some really helpful links in the description box below, right where you're watching this video. And make sure, if you haven't yet, to subscribe and like this video. That tells YouTube that you want to see more of our videos when we post them. All right, Pod Doggy, see you on the next video.